The mean is the sum of the values divided by the total number of values. The sample mean, denoted by x bar, is calculated by using sample data. The sample mean is a statistic. And we see the formula here. X bar equal to, and then this x1 plus x2 plus x3, these are just subscripts that are saying that we're adding all of the data values from a data set that has n data values in it. And so you see that in order to find the mean, we divide that sum by the size of the data set. The population mean, denoted by mu, is calculated by using all the values in the population. The population mean is a parameter. And we see here that the formula is the same. We add up all the data values in the data set. And note here that the capital N is used. We divide the sum by the size of the data set, where n represents the total number of values in the population. Here we have a data set, and let's assume that this data represents a sample drawn from a population. So if we were to find the mean for this data set, it would be appropriate that we would use the x bar notation. So our sample mean, x bar, would be equal to the sum of the data values and then we would divide that by n, the size of the data set. And there are 10 data values in this data set. The sum will be 327. We'll divide that by 10, and we wind up with 32.7 for the mean. So when we report this, it's important that we report it with the correct symbol so that the reader of the report knows whether he or she is being provided with a sample mean or a population mean. Now this brings up a question, how should we round this? The general rounding rule in statistics says that when computations are done, rounding should not be done until the final answer is calculated. When rounding is done in the intermediate steps, it tends to increase the difference between that answer and the exact one. So in other words, no rounding should be done until the final answer is calculated. Now, for the mean, the rounding rule says that the mean should be rounded to one more decimal place than occurs in the raw data. For example, if the raw data are given in whole numbers, the mean should be rounded to the nearest tenth. If the data are given in tenths, the mean should be rounded to the nearest hundredth, and so on. In this case, the mean turned out to be exactly 32.7, so we wouldn't round it at all. One of the purposes in rounding appropriately is to convey accurately to the reader of the report what the measurement precision is. If the measurement precision, which in this case is ones or whole numbers, then the mean should be rounded to one more decimal place. And the reader then knows that the measurement precision was whole numbers. Here we have the ages of all U.S. senators rounded to the nearest year as of February 3, 2016. So since we have all of the data values in a population here, we would then use mu when we calculate this mean. And since these data values are whole number data values, it would be appropriate then that we would round this to one more decimal place or tenths place. So the average age would be 62.2 years.